How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Tap the banner or visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return,
But I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
About Traitors, because there is a traitor amongst us, and you would wonder, well, what makes this person a traitor? Oh, maybe because they got on mic and shat on the heated rivalry fandom.
Oh.
Well. Hello, everyone. It's me, Chelsea. I'm back. Now, I came in costume. We're recording this early. I came on theme. I yes-anded your robe idea. I need to take it off, number one, because I'm overstimulated and my medicine hasn't kicked in yet. And number two, how dare you to bring me on your show and blindside me like this? No, I'm just kidding. I knew that I can't just bring a gun to a knife fight, especially in America, and not get shot myself, you know?
Yeah.
But again, if you haven't listened to I Am the Cute One, my message wasn't don't get horny. My message wasn't don't experience joy. My message was just maybe we buy a vibrator and then maybe we watch something else. Just for a little bit, just to see.
Listen, in my defense, my other options are the new House of the Dragon show and The Pit, and both just feel like they're going to bum me out at some point. So I was just like, I can't do this. And then, like, you know, I watch Housewives sort of for a living, and they're pissing me off. So,
yeah.
I have to agree with Chelsea on one thing, which is, hey, here's the thing, man. Like, it's obvious that a lot of the fandom is just the horny, and like I support a horny, right? Like, it's great that you have a horny.
Who amongst us hasn't been a horny?
Yeah, but like, you know, we've had the internet for 40 years, you guys. If you want to find the horny, there are hardworking professionals that have been giving their lives to your pursuit of the horny. Support those artists is what I say.
So that was just me inviting Raheel to the turret with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said, wait a second.
I'm out here. Just horny by myself in the cold.
That's so crazy. No, listen, I get it. And Donnie did text me separately and clarify, because you know how Donnie is. He's like, if I was going to subtweet you, it wouldn't be a subtweet. I would say, hey, Noor, Amanda, how about you calm the fuck down and start watching something else?
Well, and that's the thing, is that it really was tongue in cheek, because who are me or Donnie to be talking to anybody about an area of hyperfocus? I mean, my God, I posted about bananas and shredded cheese for quite literally 6 months straight in the year 2020. Like, I can't speak to anybody about what you like and what you post about. But I'm also just on the outside looking in, because I haven't read it yet. It's on my Libby Holds app. And
The
you know
book
the
is-
book is better, bitch.
And I have to say, I started as The Book is Better, bitch also. And I read the book and then I watched the show and I said, I don't think I need to read these books again because the show is amazing.
Okay.
So I do think that I did a disservice to myself by reading the book first and then watching the show. I wish I watched the show without knowing what happens. So I will leave you with that. But guys, reading is good. Make sure you have a library card and support your local library. Reading, as Candace Dillard Bassett said once in her Housewives tagline, reading is fundamental, and the library is now open.
Well, Eric on the Traitors didn't get that message because that man can't trust his ears nor his eyes.
I can't wait to get to that. Okay, guys, it's Traitors season 4, episode 8. We open up at the turret, and Robbie Bobby is about to get his ass handed to him by Candace Dillard Bassett. I want to take a pause here. Now, I want to make sure, really, you're aware of the landscape that you're about to record in right now. There was a time period where everybody was really mad at Candace. They really hated her. And there were a few of her soldiers. And you are right now recording with 2 of those soldiers. Okay?
You know, it feels good to really know that I put the work in. I stuck it out. I put on those blinders when I needed to not look at any tweets she was saying or things she was saying on the side. I really committed to being an OG Candy gal stan. And to see the collective internet come together to support her this week, it really warmed my heart and also pissed me off.
Tell me why it pissed you off.
Because I think also it proves, if I can be blunt, how full of shit the Housewives fandom is. Because now we're all, and spoiler alert, I know we'll get there, we're all upset she's gone.
Yeah.
I love that. It warms my heart to see everybody coming together. Everybody's finally on the same side of history. Everybody has never been this united since we wanted Lucy Apple Juice to have a Y at the end of her name. I cannot stand, though, that now, because the Housewives fans are mad at Rob and hate Colton, now we're giggling at the beard comment, which I was going to giggle at regardless because I'm a piece of trash. But, like, okay, so you're just admitting that we totally pick and choose when we're going to clutch our pearls and be outraged on the internet based on who said it and who it was said towards.
Yeah. You know, I learned over the summer, and Chelsea, you are not a Love Island girl, obviously. You, in fact, this summer said, hey, Love Island viewers, are you guys okay? Because it seems like things are crazy around here. Maybe, like you said about heated rivalry, turn it off. Watch something else.
Well, and that's different. Honestly, I'd rather you keep flicking your bean to heated rivalry because at least you're getting joy out of it. What I said about Love Island was there was like a brief 2-week period where I was like, okay, I need to catch up because everybody is loving the show. They're obsessed. And then all of the threads were just like, oh, God, stab me in the eye. I've got to watch this show again. I'm like, but you don't. You actually don't need to watch this show. You're choosing to watch this show.
That's right. So here's the thing. I learned. Yes, Raheel, go ahead.
Can I just say, keep flicking your bean to heated rivalry is my favorite Mark Twain quote.
I hope Rob says that one.
Yeah, and Rob would misquote that also. Yeah, this summer I learned that the Love Island fandom is crazy and obsessive and in a unique and different way than Housewives fandom. And I realized that is why watching this episode, I had a lot of fun. I was like, oh my God, Traitor on Traitor violence. It's the best episode of the season. It's so good when this happens. And then I turned on my phone and I was like, oh no, why are you guys bumming me out? You're taking the hee hee ha ha all out of it. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They ruined Potomac and they ruined Love Island. So this makes sense. I just need to not look at threads.
Can you tell me sorry, Raheel, can you tell me the specific, like just an example of like the difference in toxic? Because you're blowing my mind because it didn't feel like the brand of toxic I quite understood. Some of it did, but yeah, I had the same experience. I was giggling, I was laughing, I was kicking my feet. I opened threads, which you never should do, and I was looking and I was like, I think I may have watched the wrong episode.
You're like, was there another one that released after this? Was there an editor's cut, like a director's cut?
I got the Schneider cut.
So Love Island fandom, I'll tell you, is crazy in ways that I had several people threaten to call ICE on me this summer. So I've never had any Housewives fan threaten to call ICE on me. So I guess that's the difference. Although, you know, like, yeah, I would say that's the big one.
So wait, is it kind of like Housewives fan versus Love Island fans is just like a microcosm of what's happening in our political landscape?
Yeah, I would say that. I think also Love Island fans, the difference is like a lot of young people, God, I sound like such a boomer when I say this, but a lot of young people watch Love Island because the contestants on Love Island, I would like to emphasize, a lot of them went to high school during COVID. And so they are very young people, or like they went to college, or like they're young. They're all born well after Y2K. It's a very different vibe of viewers of casting. And then I think the viewers are also really young people. I think a lot of Love Island fans just got access to social media like 2 years ago because their parents finally let them download Instagram. So I think that there's a like, it's the way I feel about like boomers on Facebook. Like when they first got Facebook, they didn't know what to do with this much like access to things. It's the same thing I feel about like middle school kids or high school kids that just got access to social media. Like you guys didn't slowly ease into this like we did. Like you weren't on messaging boards to talk about Housewives, you know, before there was like social media. So like you didn't have a Tumblr dedicated to Housewives gifts. Like it's different for you. And so I think that that is the difference between the Love Island fandom and the Housewives fandom. We did see a surge of this kind of toxicity during 2020 because all the kids that were home were finally catching up on Housewives because they were like, whatever, my mom watches this, so I guess I should watch it too. And then that kind of like made its way into the Potomac fandom, I remember. And I think my long story short, we should not give young people phones.
I know. My kids are no. No. I see what they do in my house. I don't need them doing anything for other people to be looking at.
Oh my God. One time, and this is like the one interaction my son had, and he's almost 12. I think this happened maybe like 3 years ago, when Aiden was pre-10. And so he was watching some YouTube video. First of all, I was like, who let you watch regular YouTube? It was my husband. But he was on a YouTube video and he was just reading comments because he didn't realize comments were a thing because they don't have that on YouTube Kids.
Right.
And so he started reading the comments and somebody, I think one of the captions said, "Do you love this? Do you want to see more?" And he just wrote no, just to see what would happen. And he comes up to me sobbing hysterically. I'm like, what happened? He goes, I made a mistake. I said no on this video. Like I was just, he asked a question and I just like was joking around and I wrote no. And now a bunch of people are disliking my no and telling me to go away. And like, he was actually devastated. And I was like, okay, this is a great moment for us to talk about like how you do not need to, like, this is a great example of how young people's brains should not be engaging in stuff like this. They should not have access to this many people and this much interaction. So I was like, great, amazing. Lesson learned. Don't do that. Don't watch regular YouTube. Don't comment. Don't read the comments. Like, it's not a good place. And he was
not
like,
even just kids, but it's also like knowing where and when, because when I was freshly postpartum with and I'm sorry, we're taking many tangents today, but when I was freshly postpartum with my oldest daughter, she was born at the end of August, and then Halloween was coming up, and we wanted to be from Rick and Morty. We wanted to be, my husband was Rick, I was Morty, and then our baby was Tiny Rick. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking for a onesie that would work for that. And I was new at this point to Reddit, and I had only been dabbling in Housewives Reddit, which like had its problems, but wasn't like Reddit, toxic Reddit. And so I made the mistake. I posted on the Rick and Morty fandom Reddit where I was like, hey, I'm looking for a Halloween costume for my baby, blah, 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 blah. Also postpartum, emotional. And immediately all these responses, fuck you and your baby. You're ugly baby. And my husband came downstairs and I was just weeping. And I was like, I think our baby's ugly and I can't find a onesie for her to be Tiny Rick.
Yeah, it's just not, you know what? Chelsea, we're having this conversation and Raheel is probably just in his head saying, I fucking told you so, because he's not on social media.
I am so smugly self-satisfied over here, just hearing all these horror stories. Oh, yeah, you don't need to be on social media at all, ever.
Yeah.
I live with one of those. My husband is also not on social media, but I think
he
that's
sounds
the
sane.
Perfect yin and yang. Oh, he's very sane. And I mean, I think that he is the only reason I haven't just like floated up to the clouds. He is a tether to reality and earth for me.
Yeah. And by the way, as usual, the husband of a bisexual woman is the best husband there is.
You can't hate men as hard as I hate without having a good one cooking you dinner behind you.
That's right. That's exactly correct. Okay, I think we've covered how you feel about how did you feel about Candace being a traitor?
I felt like it was a gift from the universe.
Yeah.
I really felt like the world turning on my longtime nemesis, Michael Rappaport, and then Candace being a traitor. I was like, the universe has seen my suffering and has said, you know what, girl, you earned this one.
By the way, we should touch on that just briefly, just so Raheel is abreast to the situation. Raheel,
I'd like to be abreast of both of those situations. I want to hear about the longtime hatred for Michael Rappaport because I have my own reasons. And then also, if you guys could give me some context as to why Candace was hated and how, like, her redemption arc.
Well,
okay, I'll take the Candace thing briefly, and then you can talk about Michael Rappaport. Raheel, I cannot wait for you to hear this. So Candace came in as a cutie patootie pageant girl, smart as a whip, super funny, super witty, all that stuff. But her storyline, her first season was that her parents are wealthy and she has a mom who pays for things. And people did not love that. It was still fine. It was still touch and go. She was still funny, but she would get on Twitter and get into the fights with people online.
She was one of the first housewives that was taking the mess outside, and which is funny because I hate that. And I think that I just literally turned a blind eye because I think that was around the time where I was like, okay, I'm only watching what's on our screen and I cannot pay attention to social media.
Yeah, exactly. And so you had that happening. And then one of her seasons, she got into a fight with her castmate and got into a fight with her castmate means her castmate, Monique Samuels. She beat her up on camera and it was really, really bad. Ran around a barn saying, I'm going to fucking kill you. I just lost her shit. And somehow on the internet, it was there were a lot of people that were and even on the show, they were Monique can no longer be on the show. This is not acceptable, et cetera, et cetera. But there were a bunch of people online being Candace deserved to get her ass beat because she doesn't shut the fuck up. And it was this is crazy. And so every season since then, Candace has sort of had this group of people that hate her that are well, anything bad that happens to Candace, see, this is why, anytime she says something out of line or whatever, somebody's see, this is why Monique should have beat her ass. This is why she deserved to get her ass beat. And it's whoa, this is crazy. Now with her redemption arc, I will say her being on Traitors is a massive redemption arc. Yeah. She was kind of viewed as baby sister who won't stop crying on the show because she went through this big thing and she was dealing with her trauma on her show. And
she also was the type of housewife which is why I loved her because I love mess. But she was the type of housewife that if she felt attacked, if they go low, she's going lower. And so she would say problematic shit and she would go for the jugular and she would say things that were below the belt. But also you've signed on to a housewives show. She's putting on a show, which was always my thing, is that, again, going back to the oh, now we're laughing about the beard comment. Had she made the beard comment in 2021, there would have been 1,000 think pieces about it calling for her to get fired because she's problematic and, again, deserved to get her ass beat.
Exactly. And then she also did this thing. She created this amazing invention. She brought innovation to the world of women tears. And she brought in something called a triangle, which Patreon exclusive. I've got it out on the – so it's where you take a napkin and then you fold it into this perfect little triangle. And then when your tears start to fall or where you feel like you're going to cry, you just poke this guy right into your tear duct and your makeup stays pristine. You just boop. Triangle. And anytime
when Kramer comes bursting into the Seinfeld lair and the audience goes nuts and they're woo! That's how I felt when she got out the triangle.
I was yes,
yes.
The fact that after so many years this woman does not have a Kleenex sponsorship is crazy to me. So but crazy. So that's Candace. That's sort of her arc. There's a bunch of other socioeconomic portions of it. She's rich. She has a white husband. It's a lot.
With a brown dick. We mustn't forget that part.
Oh, does that come up? Do people talk about the fact that it's brown?
She brings it up.
She brings it up. She said he's
and I
white,
don't think
but his
people
dick
are talking about it enough.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that should be one of the first things that you say. So it sounds like she was an intriguing reality TV character, But once like her persona broke containment and went into the real world, you guys kind of saw that the reaction to her was probably a little bit, like driven by racism and misogyny. Is that what I'm kind of hearing? Okay.
Yeah,
And
that's correct.
colorism too, because she was one of the more darker skinned girls on the show as well.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Now, Michael Rappaport, Chelsea, please take it away. Please tell my brother what's going on with you and Michael Rappaport, your arch nemesis.
I mean, where does one even begin? Noor has said that I'm one of the only white women that can claim being a witch. And this is an example of sometimes my power of manifestation goes astray. So I have a running nemesis list that I like to update and then just like tell people about. Recently, this is an exclusive. It won't drop until Monday's episode. I don't know when this is coming out, but I have taken Jerry O'Connell off my nemesis list.
Wow.
I realized a man can be annoying to me, but I've got bigger fish to fry in 2026.
Okay, that's fair.
Now, Jerry O'Connell, I mean, I know, but we wouldn't get to Michael Rappaport. Jerry O'Connell, I know, kind of lives in the Housewives fandom. Like, I know I've seen like clips of him and stuff like that, which I can see can be annoying. Just so you know, Chelsea, we have a deep history with Jerry O'Connell. Back in Saudi Arabia, there was a TV show called My Secret Identity, which I believe was a Canadian show. I think the first Canadian show that we watched before Heat of Rivalry. Jerry O'Connell was a teenager with superpowers in it. So I watched that show when I was like 7 years old. He's one of like one of the first white faces that I recognized forever. So like when I saw him in like Jerry Maguire, I was so excited to see him. And I've always kind of felt like a positive vibe about him.
Yeah.
But like when I see clips of him on like Housewives like shows and stuff like that, I'm like, seems a little bit annoying.
Oh god.
It's annoying, and it's because he does it in such a pandering way. And this was my whole problem, because he was given this show that was like Real Men Watch Bravo or something bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But I don't like when a straight white man presents the Housewives.
I don't like when a straight white man, period.
But like the way he presented it was like, isn't this so wacky and crazy that I'm into this dumb bullshit women usually like? And it's so annoying to me, because I feel like there are few men who, like Ryan Bailey is one of them, who can talk about reality TV because they're passionate about it and because they like it. And it's not done in a way where it's like, wow, I'm really getting down in the mud with you pigs, you know? It's just like, come on, like, and you're gonna give him a show? And so this is a segue to Michael Rappaport, because Jerry O'Connell, frequent guest of Watch What Happens Live, Michael Rappaport entered my nemesis list pretty early on just because of his overall vibe. But then I just kept having to watch him on Watch What Happens Live. And I would make comments. And of course, a one-sided feud, because who am I in this world? But I would post to my stories and I would say, oh God, my nemesis Michael Rappaport is back on Watch What Happens Live again. Like, of course, he's getting more time. Like, and this was also during the era where like sometimes they would bring on like Bravo creators, and it wasn't like, oh, he's stealing from my plate. It was also like when he would go on this show, he would say like misogynistic, racist, terrible shit, and then get to come back. And so it was crazy. So I would make the joke, and of course it was tongue in cheek, like it's a one-sided feud with Michael Rappaport because he is Michael Rappaport and I am me. Well, that all changed one day when I posted a link to one of my favorite articles I encourage everyone to go to, entitled Michael Rappaport is the Worst Type of White Man. It's by Michael Harriot. It was posted on The Root. And it tells the story of the scorpion and the frog, of like the scorpion takes the frog across the river. And the punchline is the scorpion, of course, stings the frog, and the frog says like, what the fuck? And the scorpion turns around and says, because I'm Michael Rappaport. And I think it's so funny. And it goes on to detail like Michael Rappaport at that time, because there's been more since, but like all of his problematic history with like how he's talked about Black women, how he's talked about women in general, like just all this stuff. I simply posted the link to it, and Michael Rappaport then took to his stories, tagged me, and told his 1.6 million followers that I was anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
But the best part was there was a glorious time where, and let me pull up, there was like a glorious 30 seconds where I was like, oh my God, he's in on the joke. This is so funny. Because he had commented. My problem was I made it a stagnant post and I didn't just post to my stories. I like screenshotted it. But he first posted, his comment was, "You hate your father, not me." Hilarious. That's so funny. I pinned it immediately. And I was like, and I even posted to my stories, and this is all saved to my highlights if your listeners want to look, but I posted that to my stories and I said, "It's finally happening. My feud is no longer one-sided." Hilarious.
Yeah.
He immediately, which I'm so glad I got that screenshot because he deleted it. He had to workshop it. He then posted a new comment that said, "Your nemesis has to know you exist. Stay on my dick. You hate your father, not Michael Rappaport," with a clown emoji and a devil emoji. And so then I posted that one to my stories and said, he had to workshop his response, but I think the delete repost was worth it for the added emojis. Again, thinking that he's in on the joke and also being like, that's embarrassing, dude. Like, why? Like, just leave the first one.
Yeah.
And then that's when he posted, "At Oh No Chels hates Jewish people," to his stories. So that was the end.
Yeah.
That was the end of that.
Yeah. So it was really, talk about redemption arc it is great to then be here in 2026 coming together, uniting as a nation against Michael Rappaport on Traitors, watching him unhinge his jaw, attach a plate inside of it, and then shovel the food into his mouth. He did go on a podcast and somebody asked him, like, why did you do that? And he very normally goes, "It's so that I don't get my clothes dirty." And they were like, "What?" And they're like, "Why do you drink water that way?" He's like, "It's so I don't drop it." And I was like, that doesn't really help.
Yeah, I don't know if the only solution is eating like one of the Lost Boys from Hook. Like, what is wrong with that man?
Oh, God. Okay,
Ron
we finally
went on a podcast and said, like, they were like,
Yes.
"Has it been hard not talking about the show?" And he was like, "I had to watch that man eat like that and then not talk about it for 9 months."
He was like, imagine seeing it live in person with your eyes and not being able to talk about it. Okay, it has been 26 minutes and we should finally get to the show.
Sure.
Because all I've said so far is that they open up on the turret and Robbie Bobby is about to get his ass handed to him by Candace. But you know what? I have to say, Candace did not hand him his ass. She just very gently said, "No worries. That was a throwaway vote. Rob, like, there's no heat here, whatever. Like, let's just come together and work." And Alan comes in and says, "It's time for you to either pick a new faithful to seduce for Traitrin or do a murder." And Rob very slyly, very smartly says, "Candace, I'm going to let you do whatever you like. I don't want to kill Colton because that's my boy. But you know what? This is like my peace offering to you. Go ahead and do that." And I was like, this is so fucking smart. They have either Steven, Natalie, or Colton up on like the docket of potential murders. And immediately Rob tells us in the confessional, "I'm not going to tell Candace that Colton has been suspecting her and throwing her name around." And I was like, oh, you beautiful, brilliant bastard. That is so good. We get to breakfast time and Eric, Mara, Tara, and Johnny get access to the salmon first. Now, do you like smoked salmon?
Not as much as these people do. But I had a really insightful comment on my latest post, and they said they were supposing that there is a scarcity of salmon so that when people come in, it is like fostering that environment of competition and distrust, because if somebody comes in first and piles their plate with salmon, that's treacherous behavior. There's not enough and we all want the salmon.
Oh, that's so smart.
So it plants seeds of animosity and doubt because they all want that sweet, sweet lox.
Now I have a question, Chelsea. How much lox do you think is appropriate for one person to eat?
I think like enough to cover a little bagel.
Like 3 slices, right?
Yeah, just like a layer of lox underneath the cream cheese.
Yeah, and now they have this many people, only 2 plates of salmon. That's not enough.
We can't get away with 1 slice of salmon per person. Like, cause obviously I don't eat seafood. Like, don't you just want like the hint of the seafood? Is that not enough, or do you want to bite into it like it's a protein?
I think it's a protein factor.
It's a protein.
Yeah,
I think I would probably do I think in this environment, I would probably do one. Just to, it's the same as like you split an appetizer and there's an extra one, and then we all have to play the song and dance of like, oh, but I've had one. Have you had one? Have we had one? Did we split it? And it's like somebody just needs to pull. See, that's when you need Michael Rappaport. Unhinge your jaw. The whole table's in the mouth. We're not having this discussion anymore.
Oh my God. We find out here that Maura suspects Candace, and then we find out everybody's rolling in, and we find out Colton has been murdered. You know, Candace, a lot of people are saying not a great game player, not a great traitor. People have a lot of opinions about it, but I will say one of the best things she did this season is get rid of Colton for all of us.
And don't let him have a speech. Don't let him have a moment. You know, he's been rehearsing that in the mirror every night as he slathers on his Jergens, self-tanning lotion, practicing. Oh, I was not familiar with the lore of that man. And what a trash bag.
Truly one of the worst. And then you go again, hey Peacock, what the fuck is going on over there? Why Michael Rappaport? Why Colton Underwood? Like, why would you do this?
Yeah. And I have seen the pendulum start to swing because Colton is a trash bag. Now people are like, well, they're like back on Michael Rappaport was fine to say that. I'm like, or here's something crazy, a novel concept. What if both of the men are terrible? What if both of them are equally, in just different ways, awful human beings?
Yes. I said this a long time ago. The Venn diagram of Colton Underwood and Michael Rappaport is not straight, white man who can't shut the fuck up. That's really it. Did you guys support the move of murdering Colton? Did you think this was smart?
I mean, obviously it wasn't smart because it drew a lot of attention to her, but she didn't know that. In terms of shaking up the house, I thought it was good. It did take away a big personality and like a big storyline from the house. That's what I thought.
Yeah. I think for a viewer, it was great because again, for those same reasons, he didn't get to give a speech. He was just gone. But I think Candace totally fumbled the bag the last 2 episodes because I, number one, don't understand when, again, the people on Threads, my favorite subject of just bitching about the people that, as I'm like, just turn it off if you don't want to watch it. I also have the ability to not look at Threads, and yet I have to every time just to rile myself up. But I don't understand the impulse of being mad at a traitor for playing the game like a traitor.
Yes.
Like, I love my traitors treacherous, and I love my faithfuls bumbling buffoons. If I could have 10 more minutes an episode of Johnny Weir playing the heck out of the game, making alliances, being like, we could swing the vote, and immediately including 2 traitors in his numbers. Like, I love watching the faithfuls so earnestly play so badly, and I love watching the traitors do what they're supposed to do, which is be conniving and backstabbing. And I actually don't even think Rob turned, like, it wasn't even a true backstab against Lisa because she already had the heat on her. He just played a great game by doing what a faithful would do, which is like go along with that. But I feel like the last 2 episodes, Candace had a chance to recognize, like, okay, I need to act like a faithful. Let me like reconvene with Rob. Now it's 2 of us. We have one less person to have to worry about. The 2 of us, if we're loyal to each other, we can take it to the end. And I do think that Rob would have turned on her eventually. But if she could have made it a little farther along, there could have been more things that she is doing to seed those seeds of doubt. But instead, she just made herself look so guilty.
Exactly. That's really it. And I think that Rob, as soon as he became a traitor and he saw that in the turret are 2 housewives, I think that is when he decided this is not a thing that I can play against. Like, these 2 are always going to side with each other. And I think that from the production standpoint, from casting, that's a brilliant move. That's great. That already sows discord within the turret of like 2 people who are from the same show and 1 person who is just a snake charmer who like walks around in jean overalls in like 100-degree weather in Fiji, you know? So I think that Rob knew at that point that that was going to happen. But I do wish that there was like one single conversation that Rob had with Candace of like, Candace, Lisa's going to go. They're all thinking Lisa. By the way, you said Lisa before you knew she was a traitor. So we can get in on this together. I need you to turn on a housewife, right? Like we already decided to kill a housewife. We killed Caroline Stanberry. Lisa, you bitch. Lisa Rinna, you bitch.
I'll see you at BravoCon. No, you won't.
so good. So like I wish that he had just done that, but I think that Rob, from the day that he's found out that he's in the turret with 2 housewives, was like, okay, I got to play nice until I can get them out because this is silly. Like I'm not gonna, whatever. And I think that he's playing a really good game. I did go into this episode being like, nothing that you do this episode is going to turn me on. And then he misquoted Mark Twain, and I was like, I have no chance. I've got nothing here.
The Rob versus the Housewives thing. You think that he was planning that from the date that he got? I feel like he's more, and maybe this is just because that's what I want out of Rob. He's like the simpleton who like he saw like the avalanche coming against Lisa, and he was just like, hey, I gotta go along with it. This is silly, right? Like. I still think that there was a path for him and Candace, although it's difficult after she wrote his name down on like as like the throwaway vote or whatever, for them to have a conversation in the turret and be like, hey, listen, a lot of stuff happened. Lisa had to go. That's the reason why I did it. But like you and I can still figure it out. But they just never had that conversation.
I think it was a thing of timing too, because they did the murder in plain sight. They didn't have the reconvening like they usually would, like after all of the betrayal of stuff. Like there was like 2 things in a row where they didn't have their usual opportunity, and they were kind of like stealing conversations in between things. So I feel like it did get away from them. I also wonder if they are going to change it next season for the murder in plain sight, for it to not happen right then, because I do think that Jam Jam standing up and being like, Lisa, like that did feel, I was like, oh, that stinks. Like that, you shouldn't be able to talk. And I was glad that Candace didn't throw, speaking of like saying things on your way out, I do agree it would have been unsportsmanlike if Candace had been like Rob on her way out, because I think that is like, he bested you. It's rude to then throw somebody's name out as you're on your way out the door.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I did love that Jam Jam kept saying, she kissed me, Lisa kissed me, Lisa kissed me. It was so funny and dramatic. By the way, a listener pointed out that it doesn't really feel great. Like it was fun to watch, but it did make them feel a little weird in the pit of their stomach watching a Hispanic man get dragged out by masked men on the television show that they love to watch. I was like, oh. Yeah. Rob surprises us every single time. This Mark Twain quote that was misquoted, I just like could not. I died. I was like, this man. And then he also says it to us in the diary room, like with a smirk on his face. I'm like, stop. It's getting my pants to be falling off. Like, knock it off.
So that did it for you. The misquoting, that was your heated rivalry. Like, would it have been as hot if he had gotten it right?
The worst thing about watching Traitors and Heated Rivalry back to back at the same like month of January was that I unfortunately had to admit that I am in fact attracted to men. It is painful for me. White men. Well, Hudson Williams is half Asian, so we do have to give credit where credit is due. But yeah, it was like a man.
But
really?
You like bimbos? Like you liked that he didn't get it quite right? Like he was trying. It was an earnest, like he swung the fences.
Yeah, something about the fact that I was like, he tried it with Mark Twain. I mean, he almost got it right, but
I think we were just impressed that he knew who Mark Twain was. I don't think anybody was expecting that.
Yeah. I thought that he would be like, as Kermit the Frog says, like I thought he was gonna do that, but then I was like, Mark Twain, you know who that is? Are you well read? And then like when they introduced like the challenge, which they knew that it was going to be something related to art, Alan came in looking like a couch in Patricia Atzel's house. He looked which by the way, the outfit that he had on was apparently a hand-painted suit.
Oh, I love it.
Incredible.
Somebody on Threads, but this is a positive one. Somebody on Threads that I agree with said that we should, as an after show, whoever was banished or murdered should get to do fashion show at lunch. I want to see all of the looks that they didn't get to wear. Like what was Monet Exchange going to wear for the rest of the season?
I want to know what Monet Exchange was going to wear to this
No.
black banquet. You know what I
No.
mean? It would have been amazing. But when Alan comes in and says that it's an art challenge, somebody was like, "Oh, Rob, you paint, right?" And everybody was like, "What doesn't he do?" Like
that sweet man.
Sweet man. So pre-mission chatter, and Eric says that the Dagger 6 might be under the like on Candace's radar. They're pretty sure it's Candace, and then Candace is also telling some people that it might be Rob. And I was like, I love watching this. I love them both so much, but I hate this for them because I just wanted them both to, like, that moment in like episode 2 or 3 when they got into the turret, took off their hoods and said, "Girl." That was what I needed. Okay. That's what we need in America. Okay. All of us looking at each other and saying, "Girl," and laughing. But we didn't get that now. And like that part of it really broke my heart for me.
Yeah. And this isn't going to mean anything to you, Raheel, because you are a person with a brain without social media. But I did, anytime the two of them were together, I felt like that meme where the man is touching the awards and like, now kiss.
Now kiss.
That's how I feel about both of them.
Well, you could also reference just Mike Tyson taking 2 pigeons and putting them together and saying, "Now kith." So it's the same.
That's your husband's favorite gif. He shares that often.
My husband? I was Dr. Bald?
Dr. Bald and Raheel have a side chat going on.
Yeah, my husband does love to do that. And I think that that's my influence because when I watch football with him and there's any type of skerfuffle, I'm like, what if they just like kissed?
I love when my nonsense rubs off on Dr. Bald. My vocal stems become everyone's vocal stems because I just can't stop saying them. But I was never prouder than when one of our daughters was sprinting away and he quoted the obscure line from an old episode of Dance Moms where the camera people were chasing Abby Lee Miller down the street and they said, "She's zooming, dude."
It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I love it so much. There was a moment, I think, where I don't know if this was before the dinner or before the mission, but there was a moment where like Candace is sitting in the kitchen with Maura and Johnny Weir comes and he just whines and twerks at the door next to Candace. And I was like, I could watch this for 100 more days.
I'm sure you guys have talked about this, but the craziest thing that has happened this season is how does no one in this house know that Johnny and Tara are like longtime BFFs? Mm-hmm. It's so crazy. Even if you didn't know like how much BFFs they are, you have 2 Olympic figure skaters. Mm-hmm. Like you're not making a connection that maybe they knew each other. Maybe they've bumped shoulders on the ice rink.
Well, I think it also goes to show like how few people watch the Winter Olympics. Like it's on literally right now. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I saw the boys of the Heated Rivalry show touch torches. They touched torches in Milan and that was it. And I was like, okay, whatever.
Then all the Heated Rivalry fans logged off. They're like, we've seen what we need to see.
Apparently during the opening ceremony, there were a bunch of costumes and there was an entire delegation of dancers dressed as multicolored espresso makers. Like stovetop espresso makers. I'm going to send it to you, Chelsea. It's exactly your kind of nonsense because you're like, imagine getting cast for that. Like, hey, I'm going to be doing, I'm actually really lucky I'm going to the Olympics. They hired me as a dancer. And they're like, what are you going to dance
incredible. As? What's the number? Well,
stovetop espresso maker.
I'm hoping for Keurig next year.
Mission time. Did you pay attention to the mission rules?
I don't pay attention to the missions. I'm going to be honest. That's the time for me to fold laundry. That's the time for my eyes to glaze.
It was kind of like you remember the bird call thing from last year?
Yes.
Where you have to interpret. It was that, but instead it was with paintings, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I did not, like, I hate Tom Sandoval, but it would have been really fun to see him try to do this. They would have been really good.
Talk about redemption arc. I do have to say, bravo people who are on their way out doing shows like this. Because I even liked Kyle Cook when he was on season 1. Like, I hope that if they do All Stars, they bring him back specifically. Because season 1, like when he literally looked around and was like, so we're making a television show if any of you guys want to speak. But I do think it's like cool to see them outside of whatever niche Bravo show we're used to seeing them in. Because Tom Sandoval, I mean, my God, that pits of hell. And then he went on that other show too where he made me laugh. So
Masked Singer.
yeah, and the one where he was crying in the desert.
The one where Jojo Siwa had to firemen carry him out of the desert.
Yes. I went on a rabbit hole. Nora, I don't even watch that show. And I have unfortunately had to get rid of my TikTok because of their new terms and conditions. But so God knows what I'm going to do with the extra 12 hours I have a day now that I'm not just mindlessly scrolling. I went down a rabbit hole. I was weeping watching clips from the most recent season when
the
Judices, and then the little girl made it all the way to the end and how proud she was. And then they were showing flashback. I was weeping. I don't even watch Real Housewives of New Jersey.
I feel like that is a show that is a little too it's a little too military influency for me, so I don't watch it. It's if you're curious, Raheel, it's called like Special Forces, and it's where a bunch of reality TV people go and do like a bunch
basic
of like
training. They have to get through the real basic training to be in the Special Forces.
Which, by the way, the Special Forces basic training is probably more training that they're giving ICE nowadays. So,
well, that's fun. I'm surprised that Donnie doesn't watch that show, because if it's got a police dispatcher, he's all in. My God,
Donnie's all about that.
Yeah, and I know most recently on 911. Now I'm spreading the good word. Apparently, they traded out Jennifer Love Hewitt for an AI bot, and guess what? She made somebody saw their arm off or something.
The prize pot, I don't know. They play a bunch of stuff. I did think I was like, Rob is all about like, oh, I paint and I know Mark Twain and I'm a farm guy and I know snakes and I live down by the creek and all this stuff. And then he thought that Johnny Weir, who was dressed as a cow, was a horse. I was like, I thought you knew ball, and
also,
you don't.
What did you think? Was it Candace? What did you think she was doing under there?
It's so silly.
What are you doing at that farm by the creek?
The prize pot is $150,000, and I was like, ooh. I love when they announce the prize pot, because I always am reminded, like, that's not a lot of money. Like, I understand where Rob's like, I literally can't split this with anybody. Like, guys, that's not a lot of money. Yeah. It's nothing. Well, yeah, it's dinner time, and a lot of people think it's Candace. Johnny does give Candace a heads up. I was like, oh, look at Johnny Weir playing the game. He's doing so good. This is amazing. Some people think it's Steven. Steven and Candace are talking, and then Dorinda comes in on them, and Dorinda's like, oh, okay, well, that says a lot. And then whatever.
Dorinda, who begged and pleaded to come back for another season and then has literally given us nothing.
She better fucking get killed next. I'm not gonna lie to you. We gotta go.
Every time they show her, apparently, like, that her only contribution is just like, I can't believe I'm still here, and then she like wants like a round of applause.
Yeah. She's like, I could have sworn. Here I am. It's like, Dorinda, please.
We did it the first day. We're not going to do it for you every single time. Like, you can't go to the bathroom and then come back and expect us all to still give you a round of applause. Like, wow, Dorinda made it out of the bathroom. Incredible. Like, it's not going to work that way.
I survived the dump. Who knew I could?
It was touch and go there for a minute. All that salmon's really clogging me up. Dorinda, I think for me, is like one of the biggest fall from graces in terms of, because I have my top 5 favorite housewives that's just like a rotating list based on who pisses me off and who I'm enjoying. And she used to be like always on that top 5. And now she truly turns my stomach. There's something wrong with her spirit.
Yeah, it's I think it's the drunken slurring. I think that's what really is the one that really sets me up. You know, speaking of like redemption arcs, Lisa Rinna has had a huge redemption arc within the Housewives space. Again, Housewives fans are so hypocritical. They have no scruples, nothing to stand on, because when she left the show, people were like, fuck you, Lisa Rinna. You ruined the show. You were terrible to Garcelle. We hate you. This season, they're like, how dare they come for Lisa Rinna? She is an icon and a queen and a legend. And I'm like, no, we don't really like her. And I mean, that's coming from me, a person who my rotating top 5 had Lisa Rinna in there. Actually, all of my favorite housewives have been on Traitors. So I don't know what that says about me.
I think that means you have excellent taste. You know, somebody who's going to play a game. No, and you say that, and I hear it and I receive it and I know it's right. But one thing about me is I am a hypocritical bitch and I can be swayed back. I know how editing works. I know, but I am going to go where they want me to go. And I surely did. When she gave that middle finger on her way out, I was like, yeah, Lisa.
Yeah. And apparently she wrote a book and she's using her time on Traitors to like promote the book. And part of it includes the fact that apparently when Andy Cohen wrote a book, his last book, he put in his book like private text messages between him and Lisa Rinna. And so when Lisa Rinna in her book talks about how she felt when she found out that essentially her boss shared private text messages between her and him in like a book for every, I was like, oh, okay, I love this. I can't wait to see Andy try to defend that, I guess, at the reunion. I don't know what that's going to look like, but
his time.
What?
When is it going to be his time?
Girl, the fact that man has had Michael Rappaport on the show multiple times since Traitors, since his every single day going online and screaming about Zohran Mamdani and doing some Islamophobic shit and saying that he is going to be the next mayor of New York, going on Watch What Happens Live and promoting his run as next mayor of New York. I was like, Andy, get fucked.
Did you see the account Yolanda Pfister? Which the fact that this is a sentence we say in 2026, but yeah, that was a very interesting and telling series of stories.
Blair is amazing. Like all of those stories were so good. You guys go follow it because it's Yolanda _Pfister. Anyway, where are we? Okay, yeah. So Steven and Candace talking. This is where Candace finds out that from Steven that Colton had been saying Candace's name for quite some time. And she's like, huh. Then Rob comes in and this chat between Rob and Candace, I was like, am I horny again? What did you guys think of this chat with Rob and Candace?
Oh, I thought it was exciting in the moment. I didn't believe that it was happening. I thought that them asking Steven to leave was it was a big risk because it's like, hey, why is Candace talking to Rob, right? Like if we're all thinking Candace, then why is she just talking to Rob? And then I couldn't believe that she just came out and said it. It excited me a lot, like just the tension. I was like, ooh. And then watching like Robbie Bobby just like be like a little bit in the corner and then just kind of take all that information. And I was just trying to imagine like how I would react in that moment, just like all the tension. And I don't know, like it was exciting. I wasn't horny, but maybe I wasn't watching the show properly.
Were your pants still on?
They were. I'm sorry. Maybe that's something I need to change for next week.
Was there candles lit?
Yeah, I liked that they were just saying the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we're only seeing a small part, and certainly, of course, there are other conversations that we don't see. I think part of the fun of watching competition shows like this, and I do the same thing when I watch Big Brother, is like you imagine how you would try to spin it or what you would say. And I feel like, again, there was a chance for them to come together and work together for a plan where it's like, okay, I did my throwaway vote. Mara doesn't understand a throwaway vote because that is a very American concept, first of all. But also, like, if we can get the heat off of this vote, which Donnie says was a good move. I don't understand how, but like, if we can make it look like you panicked. Mm-hmm. And we can make it look like, because she was so steadfast and like, here's who I'm voting for. Every week I'm voting for the same person. Yeah. So if we can make it look like you truly panicked because you've never had to make a vote on the fly because you've always been so certain what's happening. And then even make it like where we know that Candace can whip out the tears, like cry to me or do something where like, I feel so bad. Like now, is there heat on you? There could have been things where they came together with a plan, but I think it was just too little too late. And Rob is playing a great game because you cannot make it far as a traitor without building alliances with the faithfuls. And that's the thing. He is so well insulated by people who absolutely do not think he's a traitor that he can start to point fingers. And he could have totally like led people away from Candace, but when she just straight up is now gunning for you at the table, of course, like he's going to go for her.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think like I was with Rob all the way until he was like, Candace, the game is called Traitors. It's just a game. I was like, you know what, Rob? No, I'm putting my pants back on. You know what? Fuck you. Because that, I don't like that.
By the way, I am finished, but I will put my pants
The beans have been flicked. Okay. Someone pointed out that he came to breakfast after Colton died in like a sweater vest with broken hearts. I was like, please shut the fuck up.
And see, with Rob, I know that you think it's like surprising to you that he knows who Mark Twain is, or that he's like great. He's better than the football player at throwing things because he used to go down to the creek and throw rocks or whatever. But like I kind of, and this is because I'm a narcissist, so I see myself in everything, but like I kind of resonate with him. Like he's an idiot savant. Like he is both so dumb and so smart. And that's how I live my life, where I will say something that's like, so she does have a brain, and then immediately follow it by like not knowing something very basic. And so I think that makes him a great traitor, because he can turn to Michael Rappaport and be like, you're using that word wrong and it's driving me crazy. And that doesn't necessarily make people look at him like, oh, so you're not an idiot, because that might just be the page of the dictionary he read, you know?
He got the C book, like Joey Tribbiani. Like that's all the words that he learned. Yeah. I think it was, but like, I think that just as a woman watching a man throw you under the bus and then be like, guys, please. I think that as a woman, it just like drives me crazy when 100%. A man comes for you and then is like, you need to relax. Like, it's just a game. Like, no, you don't get to fucking say that to me, Robbie Bobby. Okay?
Also, it's fucked up though in the middle of a game. Like, yes, it is a game and we're playing it right now. And if this was a soccer game and it was halftime and you're like, it's just a game, just chill. It's like, no, I still want to win. Like, I've signed up to finish this game, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So we get to the round table, and first it starts with Steven. Dorinda, all these people are thinking, like, Steven, why would you give your gold to Lisa Rinna? And we've talked about this a few times over the last few weeks. Like, Steven Coletti had no personality, and then he opened his mouth, and we were like, oh, he still has no personality? But I was very impressed. I was like, oh, Steven can string 4 sentences together. Like, suddenly Steven got, like, an edit where he was like, I like to do photography, and I've produced movies before. And we're like, okay.
Do Mark next, because
Mark. I know. Mark Bells, why are you still here? But Steven does his little defense and everybody gets the heat off of him, but then everyone's on Candace, as Mara says, because of the throwaway vote. I could listen to Mara say words with TH forever and ever and ever. It's incredible. And yeah, you're right. As a European, as an Irish person, she's like, I don't understand. What do you mean that a throwaway vote? What does that mean, throwaway? And we're like, no, you don't know. They do that all the time here. That's how Trump is our president, actually.
Let us tell you about Marianne Williamson, the Crystals lady.
The Crystals lady. But then it goes to Candace versus Rob. And this is where I was like, Candace, like you could have said in this point, you could have said, guys, I genuinely don't think that Rob is a traitor. This is like where the tears could have come in, right? Yes. This is where Candace could have said, guys, I don't think Rob is a traitor. Like, I just threw it out there because, like, a throwaway vote means, like, oh, it's like whatever. And, you know, Dorinda even said, like, oh, I did Maria, as I said, in my slate. I just picked Mara because it was a throwaway vote. Like, it didn't matter, right?
Candace going after Rob was so stupid because she should have leaned into it being a throwaway vote, and she should have leaned into I panicked. I didn't want to vote out another housewife. We've already voted out Portia. I didn't want to believe it could be another housewife, or like I didn't want to believe it could be a housewife. Obviously the reason I picked Rob of anybody is because he's clearly the one that wouldn't be a traitor. So I wasn't putting any heat on anybody. He's the most faithful. Like if he had done that, then I also think that Rob would have received that as like, okay, cool, we're working together. But it just totally blew up her whole game. So it's like, well, which is it then? Because none of this makes sense. And she was so consistent that it did go against everything she was doing before, which was like, Ron, you know, I'm going to keep voting you until we get you out. Like it was so consistent. And then all of a sudden she did that.
Yeah. And I think that basically she realized once Rob went for Lisa Rinna, I think she realized like, okay, he's going to get me out next. So now I just need to do whatever I can to get all of the people to be suspicious of Rob because I know that I'm next. Like, I think that she also figured that out. Monet Exchange said, well, if you hadn't listened to Housewives, then maybe you could have had an ally as a faithful, and you didn't. And I was like, I think that is Candace's first wrong move was killing Monet Exchange.
I feel that way as a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, because I wanted to see Monet Exchange farther. But absolutely, because she could have kept that in her back pocket. And then she could have said, hey, Monet, like casually said your name. I'm going to work to like make sure that goes away because I think that we could have Monet's vote on our side. But for her to immediately run to her, that only like did a disservice to you because you helped the other person by getting out somebody that accused them. And then you got like your closest ally who trusted you enough to be saying those like inner secrets to you.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Candace goes home and I thought, oh, great. This is going to put all of the attention on Rob, but no, baby, no, they are all snake charmed. Also, Candace kept saying, you're not a traitor, you're a snake. And I was like, that's a compliment. He's like, yeah, my job is snake. Like
That's his Ken job.
My job is snake. Yeah, that's correct. I do know what I'm doing. But yeah, Kristen Kish says, it's not Rob, that sweet, sweet man. I was like, oh my God, Kristen, no. Kristen, don't fall for it. You're Kristen Kish being there is always what reels me back in about like, it's not just straight men that I like. I also
100%.
do love a freaking smoking hot lesbian.
No,
I really
and
do.
when you've got the smoking hot lesbians fawning after you, I mean,
Mama.
yeah.
Who stands a chance?
Mm-mm.
Who could stand a chance? Rob has to pick a traitor, and Johnny, and I thought his listing out to Alan who he's thinking, I was like, oh, he's really just so fucking smart. He says Johnny would be really good because people think that it's Johnny. It could be Johnny. And that would be really smart because if I voted him, I brought him in, then it would get get another traitor out and it would be easy. Like nobody would think that it's me or whatever. But then he ends up picking Eric. Eric goes to the confessional. He sees the letter and he says, guys, I know who this is. I know that handwriting, much like I know the laugh of one black woman, but actually it's the other black woman. And I'm not going to say it out loud this time that I'm voting that other black woman because it would make me look bad. Anyway, this is Johnny Weir's handwriting. And I was like, oh my God, he cannot
Honestly,
trust
I
his
was
ears or
just
eyes.
so proud of him that he understood he wasn't being murdered. Because when he was like, oh no, I was like, oh, it's going to take like a producer being like, hey, no, like you're going to the turret. Like this man.
I know. I think so too. I think that he went in there thinking like legit, I'm going to die. And then they were like, you have to open the letter and you have to read it. And they were like, oh, okay.
Have you gotten weird fan comments under your Traitors posts about him?
No.
I swear that like somebody has bought bots for him, or maybe his fans have a certain cadence to them. But under every faithful post, under every post, there are like different accounts that have like all these hearts and they're like, Eric, my love, Eric, my faithful, Eric, biggest fan. And it's like all these hearts. It's the weirdest thing. I'm like, somebody paid money for these bots to like really go hard for Eric.
I think the K-pop space is a place I don't understand.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I'd never heard of Eric before. I still don't know what his music sounds like. He's a K-pop person?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, those people are, I don't know.
But he's not part of a band, but I think he makes Korean music.
Okay.
We could be wrong.
Which
honestly,
Rob has listened to, and that man's got an ear for it.
I think that yeah, I don't know. This could all be solved with a simple Google search, but we don't have time for that. Rahel's got to get to the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they pick Eric. He picks Eric. And Eric and him do a face-to-face, and it is so fucking funny because I was like, I don't think Eric still gets what's happening. Like, I think that Eric goes, meets Rob, sees Rob's face, is flabbergasted, and still doesn't know what's going to happen next.
No. Do you think this was a good move? Because I know that like Eric is a moron in this game. So in theory, it is a good move because he has been so loudly wrong. So then that can be painted as like, oh, he did that on purpose to like get the motive off of him. But I would just be worried that like
he would
tell
someone.
Yeah, that he's going to get to breakfast and be like, you guys will never believe what happened to me last night. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that his nerves are so shot like at this point because I feel like he's always just so anxious that nobody's really going to look at that as like a new level of anxiety for Eric. Like this is just who Eric is. I think they're just like, this is just who this silly, beautiful little man is. I will say, it does not feel great that we are now watching the show with not one single Black person on the show anymore. It was the first episode of Black History Month.
Yeah, I think that
It
Peacock's
is
gonna have.
Traitors.
Yeah, that's true. But also, again, like Traitors is, if anything, just a microcosm of the world that we live in. And, well, the world is shitty.
I think that Peacock is going to have to do what CBS did with Big Brother of like a certain percentage of the cast. And it's like, it's sad that it has to be this, but like a certain percentage of the cast has to be people of color because there is such thing as bias. And like, that was a rough, the Monet Tiffany back to back was
that was terrible.
a tough one.
Yeah. I think that you brought up a really good point, Chelsea, about like Rob and Candace's partnership breaking because of the back-to-backness, because they had the Ron vote where that's the first time that Rob said Lisa's name. Then they go immediately into the murder in plain sight. And then they go where Lisa's kind of like doing her own thing. And then they go immediately into the voting, right? Like, I think that back to back, but I like that it kind of forced them to shake things up because I've been having such a fucking good time watching the show.
This show, I am delighted. I'm having a ball watching this show. And I didn't know how I was going to feel going into it just because obviously I knew that I loved Candace and I love Johnny and Tara. I hope that they get more screen time now that there's less of them, that I just want to see what their thoughts are thinking because they're just shocked every week that they're still in the game for how little they understand what's going on. But there were a lot of people this season that I didn't know going into it, and I'm having a grand old time.
Yeah, I think that the smart thing would have been if Candace had killed Maura. If she was like, no, I want to kill Maura. You want to keep Colton? Keep Colton. Let's kill Maura. Let's see what happens, right?
Especially because Colton was so loud and like he could have totally like, yes, he's coming after you this time, but that's such an easier turnaround of like, let's look at his history. Like he's leading the charge on all these things. Like I just feel like he was such an easy shield and target, whereas getting rid of him, like people were genuinely shocked because they thought he was at least one of the traitors.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's it. That's it for this episode of Traitors. Raheel, I hope you enjoyed listening to me and Chelsea talk to you.
Sorry, Raheel.
It was delightful. I have so many more questions about like the different fandoms that you guys take parts in. Like,
I don't know if I take part in it.
I
don't know. I don't know if I take part in it, or if the part has just been bestowed upon me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on you.
It did. I've been crushed by Plymouth Rock, actually.
I'm the scene in Twilight where the evil vampire comes out to look down upon the kingdom and then goes back in. Like, I am absolutely part of the problem. And I'm like, you guys taking everything so seriously. Let me spend 30 minutes of this podcast talking about how you shouldn't take it so seriously in a very serious way. But if you do want to learn more about Fandom, Raheel, or anybody that's listening, Who the F Knows with Emily Rose has been doing a really interesting deep dive on fandom and like toxicity and whether or not it ruins the culture of the shows over on her podcast. So go listen to that.
So just like listening to you guys talk about like the Housewives stuff, right? Is the experience that, okay, we're watching what's on screen, but also we are cognizant of like how this shit is put together. Like, is that the experience?
Like half and half. I think that that's also the problem is that I think people watch for different reasons and watch it very differently. And I watch Housewives. Like I actually got a comment on one of my Threads posts of somebody saying that they're like triggered by just Rob in general because of the way that the world is and it reminds them of the past, 6 years or whatever. And I said, I think we watch reality TV for the same reasons, but in two very different ways. Yeah. Like I watch to check out and turn my brain off and like there is a dumpster fire all around us, but I want to just watch women consistently fight over table placement settings. Yeah. Whereas I think that some people watch it through the lens of like helping them work out their own stuff because you always identify with certain people. But I think also then there is an element of people forgetting like we actually have more in common than like we don't, because we are so invested in these shows, but now we're, I don't know, like for example, what happened to me, like doxing people because we don't like your takes on like certain people.
Yeah, and I would say that I'm part of the problem because I did start this entire podcast because I was like, reality TV should not just be watched on its own. I think we need to be cognizant of how these things intersect with pop culture and the real world that we live in. So I brought this to myself. Like I said,
but you do it in a way where like, I don't know. I do feel like it's one of those things that if you are outraged about everything, then nothing matters. I think you do a really good job of choosing what to be outraged about and being consistent, which is the important part. Again, going back to everybody being like, ha, Candace made a homophobic joke, but we don't like the gay guy, so it's fine. Like, I think that you do a good job of having the hee hee ha ha, but then when things come to your door to be like, oh, actually, guys, let me break this thing down. Whereas I think the problem is people want to make everything a think piece. And so if everything is a think piece, then
there's no thinking.
Nothing matters.
There's no thinking. Yeah. That's true. I mean, it's a lost episode because it didn't end up getting saved, but I did go on for 45 minutes talking about how Karen Huger, who just came out of prison for 6 months for drunk driving, not her first, but her third time, is just a delightful person and should stay on TV forever. So you know what? You got to hee hee ha ha at what we can, because the rest of the world is really bad, but it is important to sometimes go, this I can hee hee ha on. I know it's bad, but this is funny. But in the real world where it has like real life implications, where we fuck people up and all that, and then that's not okay. But guys, Chelsea, what do you have going on I Am the Cute One?
Lots of stuff. Go and listen to I Am the Cute One. Mondays are movie episodes. Friday are our TGIF pop culture roundups. We are covering, when does this come out? This weekend?
Tonight.
Oh, great. On Monday, we are covering Stand By Me, which is why Jerry O'Connell got taken off my nemesis list.
Now, do you think it's because he was a chubby little boy? You think that's like you're looking at the
honestly, what started to turn the tide for me was when he covered for one Julie Chen Moonves on Big Brother, and I felt like how he did the after show. He was so earnest in it, and it was the first time I saw him be excited, and he took it seriously, and it was such an honor because it was the first time she hadn't been there for all of those years, but he didn't do it with a ha, and look at all you morons that usually turns into the show. Isn't it crazy that me, a smart guy, is into this dumb shit? So that's when it started to turn, and then he's just such a cutie patootie digging for that jar of pennies in that show.
Oh God. Guys, go listen to I Am the Cute One everywhere podcasts are found. Go subscribe to their Patreon. If you haven't yet, there is a show very similar to Traitors, but not actually Traitors because they're not trying to get sued, Express, that they did, where I was also included. It was so fun. Let's find out what happened to me, but go follow, go subscribe to the Patreon so you can watch the video
episode is available on our YouTube. The first 30 minutes, if you want to see what it's about before committing to the whole thing. If you want to taste the milk before milking it like they did in that Traitors, I don't know. It's time to go. Raheel's got a dentist appointment. But go over there because it's all of your favorite podcasters playing Traitors, and it was so funny and so fun.
Yeah, and go and follow Oh No Chels, just because who knows when the next time a person with millions of followers will sick their followers on her for some thing that we thought was hilarious. I'll be back next week to start talking to Raheel about the real life again, because I do think that the heated rivalry stuff has really finally slowed down. I've stopped flicking my bean. Okay.
So she says. So she says.